Hello and welcome to my meditation. My name is Debra Baker and I'm so glad that you have joined us for this little while for another deeply relaxing but somewhat brief healing meditation. So let's get started. As usual, let's begin with our 3 nice, really deep breaths. Breathing all the way down into your belly, allowing your belly and your chest to expand, holding it for a second and then breathing out very slowly. Hold it for a second and then let it go. And now one more time, the deepest breath you've taken all day. Hold it and let it go. So I asked my guides, and of course I have my own ideas of what we're going to meditate about, and they reminded me that we are not finished with the idea of safety. Safety is so crucial to our healing. We cannot heal unless we feel safe, which is why it takes a lot of people years and years after a trauma happens before they actually can heal. And I can tell you that I ended a relationship, a long-term relationship where I did not feel safe, and it took me about 10 years. I remember 10 years in my current relationship before I realized that I felt safe. I can tell you exactly where I was walking down the stairs in my home, and I thought, oh my God, I feel safe in my own home. So the guides are suggesting that we look at ways that we unwittingly make ourselves or allow ourselves to be unsafe. And we usually do that by defense mechanisms. So defense mechanisms are things that we needed to survive at the time. So one of my strongest, my worst defense mechanisms is people pleasing. I want everybody to be happy around me, and you know, that seems like not such a bad thing, but it's to the extent that I don't know how to create that balance. People think that we have to go to the other extreme. I have to please myself now. But that's not what the guides are telling us. They are telling us that it's important to find that center ground. So let's relax our bodies, and we're going to try a slightly different tactic this time, and that is to just instruct them to relax. So, and I know this works because in doing energy work for people, one strong memory, I was working with a client and I had my hands under her head, and oh my gosh, her neck was so tight. And so I just touched my fingertips lightly to where the muscles were so tight, and I said, soften this. And she did. And I thought, oh my gosh, I had no idea it was this easy. So let's picture our feet and soften them. And now our lower legs, calves, shins, knees, soften them. Isn't that bird lovely? And now our knees, the rest of our knees and our upper legs are the largest muscles in our bodies. Just soften those muscles. Allow them to go to a neutral position. And now let's imagine the pelvic floor, all the muscles around the sacrum and the coccyx and your hip joints those places where your legs meet your pelvis. Feel all those muscles and all that tissue and everything around there just soften. The connective tissue soften. And feel it all the way into your pelvis. Feel your lower back soften. I had a wonderful experience over the weekend where we had a surprise birthday party for my oldest daughter. And I ended up holding grandchildren a lot, so much so that my lower back is sore. So let's picture our lower backs, our between our hip sockets and around the hip sockets, just softening, going to a neutral position. So not softening so far that we don't feel supported, softening enough so that we feel kindly, lovingly, gently supported. And now, feel it in the midsection. And also gently, lovingly support your internal organs. Moving up to your rib cage, feel all the muscles holding all of your ribs in place. Go to a neutral position. All the muscles are along your spine. Feel your spine align, naturally align. When you allow the muscles to relax, the spine naturally aligns itself. And now your hands, soften your fingertips all the way through your hands, your wrists, your lower arms. Feel your body getting heavy, your elbows, your upper arms, all the way into your shoulders. So your rib cage is all relaxed and your upper chest, and now all into your shoulders. Feel your shoulders go to a neutral position. Soften all of those muscles in your neck, your chin, all the way through your head to the top of your head. And let's take that a little further and let's soften our ideas about ourselves. So we can be so harsh and critical of ourselves. And let's remember that all of the traits that we have that trip us up, that, keep us stuck, whether it's, having a temper, or not speaking our truth, or, whatever it might be, let's remember that we developed those out of necessity. It was just our natural response to the craziness or the uncomfortable situation or whatever it may be. And the guide said to me very loudly, let's stop villainizing other people. So there is so much in the social media today about narcissists. And narcissists, became that way because of their own reaction to the stress in their lives, their own defense mechanism, their own survival. So instead of villainizing them, let's send them love and understanding. And let's send that same love and understanding to ourselves. So what that amounts to, and we're going to have some silence to really kind of wrap our heads around it. What that amounts to is accepting and embracing what has happened up until now. The trauma, the wonderful things, everything works together to create the people we are today, who are wonderful, beautiful souls. So as we listen to all these wonderful birds in my backyard, let's allow ourselves to embrace. Thank you, God, I wouldn't have it any other way. To embrace what has happened so far. There's a Daniel Nahmod song that says, I don't need to know because God knows. And we have talked many times about the infinite God, the one presence, the one power, being your truest essence, our truest essence. So we know at some level, maybe not in our conscious minds. So let's invite ourselves to have another level of enlightenment about how we can make our lives safer for us. How we can be safe for ourselves, not defeat ourselves or criticize ourselves or betray ourselves, but be our own best ally. And let's have some silence. We'll have a long period of silence to allow the infinite to reveal to us whatever it is that we need to know right here, right now. Let's imagine for a moment that those people who are the villains in our lives, those people who have hurt us deeply, without apologizing, without trying to make it right. Let's imagine that they are some of the best parts of this tapestry of our lives. And then allow ourselves to know how, why. I suggest that part of the reason why someone was allowed to hurt you, someone was allowed to hurt me, is because we love them. And in our loving, kind natures, we wanted what's best for them. And so we allowed ourselves to be vulnerable. And you know what? They didn't know what to do with our vulnerability. And at some level, neither do we. And so we don't allow ourselves to be vulnerable because we don't know what to do with it. But again, we are one with the infinite, and that one presence does know. So let's set an affirmation for the rest of this day, the rest of this week, and that is that we will absolutely know when we are safe to be vulnerable, and we will know how to handle that vulnerability without feeling devastated. We will know what to do with that vulnerability. And the guides are asking me to share one last quick story as we are getting ready to wrap up this meditation. And that is when I lead groups, meditation groups, or there were some book studies that I used to lead with our church years ago. And I noticed that the first time that one person in the group opened up and allowed themselves to be vulnerable, everybody relaxed a little bit, and then more and more people allowed themselves to share from a very deep level. And so I suggest that you ask your guides, is this a safe place for me to be vulnerable and share my truth, to share something that maybe I've never shared before? And then to just ask for the guidance over and over. God, if I'm supposed to share this, make it clear to me. You know, one presence, one power express in, through, and as me in this situation so that I may create more love and more kindness and more good for all involved. So thank you so much for joining us today and for being vulnerable enough to listen to this meditation. If you feel that there's something that you would like to share with me, I welcome that. There's lots of ways to find me on social media, message me, and I know that you will be guided, or even better, to share with a loved one that you want to create a deeper relationship with. And I invite you to remember that you are whole and perfect exactly as you are. And the one presence moving in, through, and as me honors and recognizes the one presence moving in, through, and as you. Namaste. Have a wonderful day.